Hi guys, welcome back. So let's go through some results of a couple of surveys I've been having going for a few weeks now. Let's get into the greatest World Cup winners ever. Now these have to be players that have won the World Cup, and I did it from 95 onwards just because roughly it's the professional era. I wanted to compare like with like. It's debatable, but that's the way that I did it. So here is the team straight out. Let's get into it. I'll tell you some percentages. So the loose head wasn't close. Durant wins by over 50% of the vote. Then we have the beast, Matuaira there, and Jason Lerner rounding it out in third with 13%. So pretty clear winner, Durant at loose head. Let me know if you agree with any of these or disagree. Into hooker, very close for hooker. Dane Coles gets it with just under 30% of the vote. Very mobile hooker, of course, maybe invented the modern hooker almost. Malcolm Marx is close in there with 19. 23% was John Smith of South Africa, and 16% Kevin Mialamu. But yeah, the winner, Dane Coles of New Zealand. Tight head side, it is Owen Franks with a whopping 58.8% of the vote, so pretty big vote there for Owen Franks. And Vickery coming in second, quite a long second, with 26%. Second rows, I asked you to pick two. So the two you picked, the biggest vote was Eben Etzebeth with 44% of the vote, 44.1 if you like. Then he's pretty close in behind, but Martin Johnson gets the second slot in the second row. Other ones pretty close behind on 33.8% were Victor Matfield, then John Eales, then Sam Whitelock. But there we have our second row pairing of Martin Johnson and Eben Etzebeth. Let me know if you think that's the best or if there's a better pairing out there. On to blindside flanker, and a pretty big win here for Jerome Kaino, the enforcer at blindside for New Zealand. 25% was Richard Hill, probably one of England's best ever back rowers. Then 16% is Peter Steph du Toit, and 13% Schalk Burger. So a few coming in there close in the seconds and thirds, but really a clear win for Jerome Kaino. No real surprise, we've got Richie McCaw in there at open side, and he was near 90% of the vote. No one else even came close. I think Neil Back was the closest with just over 4%, so that's pretty decisive. Number 8, another fairly decisive one, 66.2 is Kieran Reid, so clearly the favourite number 8. Then Lawrence Dallaglio and Dwayne Vermeulen, who we may see in yet another World Cup. Vermeulen is looking like the number 1 for South Africa at the moment for this World Cup. Scrum half, it went to Joos van der Westhuizen with 44% of the vote. The late great van der Westhuizen, I've often said, one of the best or maybe the best rugby player all round I've ever seen. Then it's fairly close in behind for who's second, George Gregan and Fourie du Preez and Aaron Smith, all in there are in the teens. Fly half, 73% goes to Dan Carter, so a clear win for Dan Carter, and Johnny Wilkinson is in there but nowhere near on 23.5%. The centres, I asked you to pick two. Mar Nonu, over 70%, 75% indeed of you pick Mar Nonu in the centres, so I'd put him at inside centre. And then it was a tie, a complete tie for outside centre with Conrad Smith, the all-rounder, Lukhanyo Am, the recent World Cup winner for South Africa. So Am or Smith, let me know who you think should get the deciding vote. Now finally onto the back three, we see Brian Habana there in on one of the wings. 63% of you voted for Brian Habana. Obviously you could pick two wingers. Jason Robertson was the clear second with over 50% of the vote. And then close in behind we had Juden Surveyor and Cheslin Colby. And fullback, fairly close here at 27.9% was Beauden Barrett. Actually looks like he's going to play fullback again in this World Cup. And then Ben Smith is the winner, another New Zealander, 33.8% of the vote. You know, a great all-rounder, Ben Smith. Many say Will Jordan is the next Ben Smith, and he'd have to go a little bit, but he's definitely got the ability. And then close in behind, we had Percy Montgomery, the great hair, Josh Lucy, and Andre Joubert. So that is the best World Cup winners 15 voted for by you. Let me know what you think of that. And then we had a second, more recent vote, which was just for a bit of fun really, but for the actual nations involved here, getting revenue from shirt sales is actually a pretty big deal. It won't affect how the players play on the pitch, believe me. But let's get into it. The best shirt design as voted for by you. And if you want to see all the shirt designs, talk about them and me go through them, then do have a look at that video. I'm not going to go through all the shirts again. But anyway, the winner for best shirt design, you can see there, is the Springboks there with nearly 22% of the vote. Then we have Scotland and the other ones who featured were Argentina, Portugal and Fiji. And the two shirts that were 1 and 2 there, the Springboks and Scotland, quite classic designs. The Springboks with a classic collar, the faint stripes. Scotland with a nice classic clear design with a bit of tartan in there. You guys really liked those designs. And then the worst, probably the more fun one, the worst design, well, the Irish shirt, you guys have clearly said is the worst design. And many of you pointed out in the comments, it's not just the fact you don't like the collar or the sleeves, because you really don't like that t-shirt design. It's just the green. It isn't a traditional Irish green. It's a lot lighter, kind of a lime green. More offensive words used to describe that. So a lot of dislike out there for the Irish shirt. And close in behind we have the All Blacks on 22%. It was 45 for that Irish one. And many of you said that actually in the playing shirt, the flowery ferns are less visible. So that is one positive. And then the England shirt, another kind of t-shirt design from Umbro there, you guys didn't like as well. But the clear loser, if you like, is the Irish shirt there. Anyway, guys, just a bit of fun getting those votes out there. Let me know what you think of all the results, and I'll catch you next time.